For today, I'll be presenting my Capstone project, and it is called Leveraging AI for Small Business Automation. So, this project focuses on how artificial intelligence can be used in practical ways to help small businesses improve their day to day operations. Specifically, I looked into ways to automate things like invoicing, client scheduling, and client communication while keeping the solution simple and cost effective. Alrighty, so before I get started, just to get into the details, I want to give you guys a quick overview of how this presentation is structured. I'll start with the introduction where I'll walk through the problem, motivation, and the background of the project. Then I'll move into the related work to show what existing research and real-world examples help shape my approach. After that, I'll go over my approach and the overall design of the solution, followed by how I plan to implement it. From there, I'll talk through the data collection and analysis, then share the key findings and conclusions. I'll also touch on future work, do a quick demo, and highlight some of the key references before opening it up for questions. Alrighty, so to introduce my project, I want to quickly walk through the problem, motivation, and background. Starting with the problem, a lot of small businesses still rely on manual or disconnected systems for things like invoicing, appointment scheduling, and client communication. Because of that, they run into issues like delays, missed follow-ups, and overall just inefficiencies in their day-to-day operations. So for my motivation, there's a clear need for solutions that are actually practical for small businesses, not something overly complex or expensive, but something simple and affordable that still makes a real impact on how they operate. So for my background, I'll be using Synthetic Pros as a case study. They're a small business based in Sacramento, California. It's a plumbing company. I know the owner personally, and he is actually willing to go on this journey of trying to embrace AI and new technology, which was great. He was a bit reluctant at first, admittedly, but it is also something I think is pretty common for a lot of small business owners like himself. It's also important to note that we're at a point where AI and existing tools are becoming much more accessible. So instead of building everything from scratch, there's a real opportunity to use tools to automate workflows and improve how businesses actually attract and manage their clients. Okay, so for this slide, I wanted to highlight a couple of the most relevant sources that really helped shape my project. The first one is from Crockett 2023. This source helped focus on how AI has a lot of potential for small businesses, especially when it comes to improving efficiency and decision making. But what stood out to me was how it talks about the gap. A lot of small businesses are actually not adopting these tools, mainly because of things like costs, lack of knowledge, or just not knowing where to start. And that gap is where my project is centered around. The second source is from Picta in 2024. This one's a bit more practical and it looks at how AI is already being used in real world trade industries like plumbing, HVAC, and so on. It also talks about things like automating invoicing, scheduling, and client communication, which lines up really close with what I'm trying to do for SynPros. So together, these sources help me see both sides of the situation. One shows the problem and the gap, while the other shows that real solutions already out there and exist for some scenarios. All right, so for my approach, I wanted to focus on improvements that a real small business could actually adopt and maintain. The first big step was interviewing the business owner and reviewing current workflows to identify the biggest pain points and priorities. I also measured how long certain tasks take, especially things like manual invoicing and admin work, so I can compare real before and after results later on. From there, my project focused on redesigning the website to improve usability and customer interaction, while also trying to improve invoicing workflows. So overall, the goal was to use existing cloud and AI-assisted tools in a simple and realistic way, rather than trying to build something overly complex or custom for them. All right, so for this project, data collection combines both qualitative and quantitative research methods. I collected workflow observations and conducted several interviews with the business owner over the course of the quarter to kind of better understand the current operational pain points. The main KPI being tracked is time saved during administrative tasks. So that's when it comes to things like invoicing, scheduling, and then customer communication. I also use Pagecloud's custom built-in analytics to monitor website engagement metrics, such as time spent on pages and customer interaction with scheduling tools. For reference, Pagecloud, just so you know, it's a website builder that I used for this project. It's similar in a lot of ways to existing programs like Wix or GoDaddy, which I'm sure you've heard of. The only difference is it requires a bit more manual coding and CSS and HTML, so that was definitely fun. In addition, I'm also referencing academic articles, industry reports, and QuickBooks case studies to compare how similar small businesses are actually approaching workflow automation and AI integrations. For my data analysis, I primarily focused on evaluating the real world workflow improvements happening within SynPros. So one thing I quickly discovered was that previous scheduling workflow, it was extremely manual. The business owner was actually manually checking his booking page throughout the day and creating calendar reminders himself on his Google Calendar. Um, and that was just very difficult. And even with his newly purchased program that he got, it was called You Can Book Me or YouCanBook.me. He didn't even realize at the time that it actually had API features already built into it that can automate a lot of what he was already doing. The trick was he wasn't aware of it. And then after implementing the updated workflows that I did, the bookings are now automatically synced with the Google Calendar I'd mentioned. The confirmations are sent automatically as well. And then it also creates reminders with very little manual oversight required. So that was great. And as I mentioned previously, I also tracked measurable improvements. So prior to these changes, the company was dealing with about 5 to 10 scheduling conflicts every week, which represented about 10 to 15% of overall jobs for them. So, and then based on recent reports, those conflicts have actually dropped to about one per week, which is a huge improvement. It's also important to note, though, that Claude AI was one of the tools that played a huge role in this. It helped during the planning and helped generate workflow ideas for how to streamline this overall and just create general improvements. So seeing those immediate results definitely helped open the business owner's eyes to how AI can actually realistically improve his operations day to day moving forward. Alrighty. So the biggest findings from this project was that improving the booking workflow had the largest impact on the business. By redesigning the scheduling process and leveraging automation, scheduling conflicts dropped significantly, and customers were also provided positive feedback about the redesigned website. They said it was easier to navigate and looked much more professional. One challenge, though, I encountered was actually invoice automation. So, Bill.com actually appeared to be a promising replacement for QuickBooks desktop version, which is what they currently use. The issue is that we found that it would actually require them moving to QuickBooks Online version or cloud-based, if you will, which the business owner still is at this point hesitant to do, essentially because the process of adopting it is very complex, unfortunately. So that's something we can work on later. I also discovered that many small business owners already have access to AI tools through existing subscriptions, but often do not realize those tools are already available to them. So in my case, SynPros turned out to have an active subscription for Google Gemini because they already pay for a Google Business Suite. So that was something that was interesting to find. One of the main conclusions from this project is that AI can provide real value when it's applied to practical business problems. As the project progressed, the business owner became much more open to AI, obviously not completely, but after seeing how much time it helped save him, he was definitely much more interested than before. I also found that AI works best as a support tool rather than a direct replacement for employees. So that's definitely something that comes in mind for blue collar jobs, especially. Another thing, there was the finding that a lot of companies already have AI tools like Google Gemini I had mentioned. So that was definitely something to keep in mind. And I think the most important thing that I learned though from this was that adoption really depends on trust at the end of the day, and then user education, and then the ease of use. So many business owners, especially the small ones, they need a lot of guidance before they feel comfortable embracing new tech, that makes customer service and training extremely important. Alrighty. All right, looking ahead, there are several opportunities to continue improving the business. One area, as I mentioned, is invoice automation, either by revisiting Bill.com or identifying another platform that fits the company's needs better. Another one could be using AI to analyze the booking confirmations and automatically create drafts, invoices that employees can review before sending. The website could also use maybe an AI assistant. That would be cool, I think. And then maybe beyond the automation, I believe there is room to improve the company's online footprint. I think that just, again, takes a bit more training for things like Instagram, Facebook, and so on. All right, and with that, this is my demo of the improvements I made. Hello, everyone. So this is the demo for Synthetic Pros. So to give you some preliminary context, this is actually the before website. So this is originally what SynPros Inc. was using as their official homepage. So just to give you some context, they have their map of where they service. They have a small section for their previous work. They have notes about warranties, outside service areas, testimonials, contact us. And this was the main thing that was the source of a lot of their issues. And this was the booking form. So as you can see, it's pretty rudimentary, but I've definitely done a lot to expand on this, and I'll show you the difference. So here we have the updated version. Now you see, obviously it's much more cleaner design. We also have functioning buttons now. We have an about section, work, contact is all accessible from here. Just to scroll down here. We have a more fleshed out description. This was also aided with AI. It's one of those things I wanted to point out. Claude and ChatGPT have been very helpful in making sure grammar, things like that, all sound the way they need to. We also got service areas, booking policy. This has also been expanded, so it has more of a legal tone to it, if you will. And then we have the same route map that the business owner did request that I keep. We also have a work section where you can go here like this. And you'll just see a breakdown of previous work. And I did mention in my report as well that this is definitely something that I think can be improved upon. These pictures are not super high quality, but they do definitely kind of tell the story of what they do here at this company. So moving on, we also have a section for the You Can Book Me platform. So essentially, this is just a description to users of what it is and how it works, and that they can book in California and Tennessee. So that way, people, when they're directed to the booking page, they're not confused about anything. We also have a testimonial section here. So if you click that, you can submit a testimonial if you have something nice to say about a previous job, maybe. You can go from there. This is definitely something that wasn't working on the original site. So I'm very proud of that. We also have the same disclaimer for jobs that are outside of the service area. Again, this has been updated with AI to make it sound more professional. And then the contact form. So rather than this being an independent page on the website, this is now embedded into the new homepage. So again, more descriptive. This goes directly to the business owner's contact information. That way they can reach out for any additional questions they may have. And then here at the bottom, again, this is just another reminder of how you can book and where, and then just a small disclaimer. And now to show you kind of the workflow for actually booking. So this company operates in California and Tennessee, obviously. So in this scenario, though, we're going to click California. And this booking page, they previously had something very similar to this in that the page functionality was similar, but the aesthetics were much more bland and it was not very detailed. So when I came along to join SynPros in helping them with this journey, they had just purchased the You Can Book Me platform and they were really unsure about how to use it. So now I think it's definitely a lot more fleshed out than what they had had previously, especially compared to the original form that they were using. So you'll see here with the Sacramento area, you can only choose booking dates on Monday, Thursday, or Friday. Here's just a few more references, and I'll open it up for Q&A.
Oh, I'm just curious, did you build this all website or you just developed it or edit all this?
I built it from scratch. So it's yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's really
so
cool.
the main thing is it's also mobile compatible now, which is something they didn't have before. So if you were to open it on your phone previously, it would be very tiny font because it's showing it like a desktop site. Now it's actually, it will stack, and I have that in the video, but yeah, it's from scratch basically. So it took a lot of work. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go for it.
So on the testimonials, is your future plan, so like if you when you press testimonials, it shows what people have
Other people have
previously
said.
said? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So I needed to be honest. I asked the business owner, like, do you have existing ones that you'd want to use? He said, to be honest, I don't have any right now.
Okay,
That like
gotcha.
off the top of my head. If he did, I definitely would have integrated them to maybe showcase like, hey, here's three of them as like a
Hmm.
like a banner, and then click like a see more button, if you will. But yeah, that's definitely something I would have to integrate so that you can, as they come in, you can actually see them like a Yelp review, for example.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.